If you are watching this, I bet you may identify as spiritual but not religious. Likely. And the rejection of organized, institutionalized religion is often righteous. But I wonder if in that rejection, you and I have thrown out some of the best medicine, and it is spiritual community, which is this month's series. The technology of sacred community, the spiritual technology of sacred community. And one of the pieces of moving in our path as spiritual but not religious, for many, many, many of us in that process have gained some agency through having a direct relationship with the divine, with God, with Allah, with the universe, with absolute intelligence, however you name the holy blessed one, this greater reality. But there's only so far you can go alone on that path. And to know the wholeness of God, to know deeply the divinity that you are and that the greater reality is, we need each other. And so this month, we are going to get into the sacred technology of spiritual community. And one of the ways we're going to do that is through sacred study. I'm offering the last class of the year beginning September 10th. I would love to have you there. It's an opportunity for you to sort of be the study of your own spiritual life. How can you design a spiritual life and spiritual practice that is unique and perfect for you? So it's an 8-week class starting September 10th. You can go to our website to get signed up. It is by love offering. There is no set cost for this course, and I would love to see you there so that you and I can get into deeper community together and get some of this technology. So for this series, I have a blessing for us. May we have the courage to reach when it feels easier to retreat, to reveal when it feels safer to hide, to co-create a sacred space where our wholeness is not just welcome, but needed. May we remember that the divine is not only found in quiet solitude, but in the holy clamor of being known and loved in community. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm having a thought. I was thinking about this as I was getting ready, and the practitioners are going to be like, really? She had a last-minute idea, but yes, I did. So I am thinking about the spiritual technology of community, which is what we're going to be talking about. And one of the technologies that we talk about a lot in this community is prayer. And we do prayer here at ABQCSL, which is a Centers for Spiritual Living, Science of Mind-based community that is called affirmative prayer or science of mind treatment, which simply means you pray in the affirmative. You pray as if it is already so. So I'm thinking I would like us to do a simple process. So practitioners, if you would spread yourselves out a little bit, and let's just kind of group where you are. So there's a few of you over there. We'll have a practitioner there. There's a few of you here. We'll have a practitioner here. There's a few of you here. Maybe Laura, we'll have a practitioner here. Same. We'll just group up and throw a practitioner in each of these groups. Yes, and which means you might have to turn around and shift your chair a little bit to face who's ever with you. Let's just do groups of 4 or 5 if we can. And I'm going to ask that you find something in your life that you want to see shift, that you're willing to share right now. Something in your life that you want to shift. Jan, can we get her a couple back here? Thank you. Something that you want to shift. In a sentence or two, you don't have to give a big old story. Nobody needs to know all the drama. Just something you want to see shift. It could be, I am ready to experience less anxiety. Right? It could be that simple. And the practitioner is going to look you in the eyes and say to you with absolute solid belief that this is possible, and so it is. Okay? And we'll just go around the group. So let's go ahead and begin. And if you are really opposed and introverted and this is hard for you, you could write it down instead. take a minute with me right now and feel how the room has shifted. Can you feel it? Right? Can you feel the energy shift in the room just by simply knowing the truth from one another really briefly and quickly? That's why this is a technology. Spiritual community is technology, not just because we get to be seen or we might have a sense of belonging, which is beautiful, amazing things that I want everyone to have, but because we come together intentionally. And just in this last few minutes, we came together in prayer. We changed the frequency of the vibration of this room. Amen? Amen. It's powerful stuff. And it wasn't that big of a deal. I know some of you are brand new to us today, so bless you for participating. But coming together and being willing to open yourself and say, here's a need I have. Here's a prayer I'm holding for myself, a hope I have, a wish I have for my life. And would you help me to know it as a possible truth, as a possibility? And because I can know that for you and you can know that for me, we can shift the energy, literally. Spiritual community, yes, is the place where we bump into each other and we resolve conflict and we notice differences and we get uncomfortable and we feel belonging and connection and love. But the difference between a civic community setting, a social community setting, and a spiritual community setting is we are here to help make the divine be known. And for those of you watching online, wherever you are watching from, please get plugged in to actual in-person, real-time community. Because the technology is here in the room. Right? It is my absolute hope that something that happens here today, or a word you hear, or a sound you hear, helps you shift and raises your vibration, right? A lot of people come to church or watch a YouTube sermon because they're looking for upliftment. Yes? Raise your hand. Right? You're looking for a shift. You're looking to change something. You're looking to change your frequency. And that gets to happen. And there's a lot of ways we do that. There are a lot of spiritual technologies out there. But there's something so powerful when we come together and shift collectively the entire room's frequency. Can you imagine how this might be a useful tool in our world today? Can you imagine when more and more of us commit ourselves to making use of spiritual technology for the purpose of not only making God known, but because we make God known, the word I choose to call the all, the absolute, Allah, Mother, Father, Goddess, you choose your words. But because we choose to be the place for the divine to be better known, the world has the possibility of change. But if we aren't willing to do that in our local place, literally internally in our own bodies, and in our relationships, in what is our sphere of influence, then we have no say in the world changing. And I know every single person in this room wants to see the world change. But are we ready to see our own lives change? Are we ready to see our own consciousness change? Are we ready to just get into a better relationship with the inner critic? Right? Are we ready to do some prayers around what we say to ourselves, how we treat ourselves, what we believe is possible for our own lives? If you were here a few weeks ago, I shared a story about meeting a young woman and in the street who had passed out in the street, and I was worried about her safety, so I went and helped her and moved her out of the street. And it has been working in me since then. And I was thinking about the technology of connection and of being with one another, because it was for me this profound experience of oneness. The heartbreak I had for her in that moment was heartbreak I have for me. And it continues to work on me, right? Because there go I. She is me, I am her. But what it's done for me in my own life, it has brought me closer to a willingness to change than I've been in my entire 53 years around some really bad behaviors, right? It brought me to such sadness for the ways I hurt myself, the ways that I have internalized the harms from the outside, and to the ways I harm myself. She and I are one. And I'm so sad about it that I am now willing to change. Right? This is oneness. This is the spiritual technology of being in community and recognizing that there's no separation. None, 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 none. In our joy and in our pain. Right? In our self-harm, we are one. And that this tool, that the divine is my love, let me help you in this other way. My love, let me get you closer to the truth of your nature, your wholeness, the good that you are, through this powerful but small, 2.5-minute interaction. Ernest Holmes, one of my favorite quotes from the Science of Mind text, and Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind and author of that text, love points the way. Law makes the way possible. So we don't have to worry about the laws of the universe. If you're a geek and you want to study them, study on. I love the study myself. But I have no say in the laws of the universe. They are not waiting for my input. They're just the laws. But it is my say to follow love's lead. It is mine to do, to be so open and curious and willing to follow love's pointing and to look for it everywhere I go. Someone told me, who is brand new today, that the Lord got them here, told them to come. How many of us get a I feel like Spirit's pushing me in a direction. I feel like Spirit has a call for me, right? I've been told to go to a place. I was told to turn left. Something in me knows to do a thing. That's love's pointing. But we have to be the ones who hear it and follow it, who see it and go. And the divine is looking to communicate good and perfect unfolding every second of every day in your life. And I think one of the things that we can get a little bit wrapped up in the spiritual but not religious communities and paths is we get really solo in our practice, right? Like, I meditate this much, and I read, and I study, and I watch the things, and I eat the right things, and I bless my water, and I do the things. But it's very solo. So we can get all kinds of off track in our soloness because we have blind spots. We are human. So one of the beauties of the community technology is having people around us who can watch our blind spots for us, right? Be that little extra mirror on the side of the car. Like, you might have missed that. You might have missed that. The other part of that is not only can they watch blind spots for us and help us see maybe what we are missing, but all of Spirit's pointing that is outside of you gets missed. Because Spirit is happening within you and without you. Right? We believe in a divinity that is omnipresent and omnipotent, everywhere at all times, never missing, always knowing. And there is big work to be done to discover that internally, because there's so much in culture that has told us there's nothing in there. Right? There's so much in culture that said that there's not a God in you and it is not incarnated in you. So I want you to have all the practices that help you connect to that inward God. But I also want you to have the technology of all the ways that the divine is trying to point you that are outside of you. Have you ever heard that phrase, if you spot it, you got it? So if I notice something in you, like Lucas's hair is on point today, that means my hair is on point because I noticed his hair. If I find myself walking around and judging everybody's messiness, good chance I am messy. If I can see it, it's probably mine. That's not always the case, but it's often the case. Right? So this is a simple way to begin to practice how the divine might be talking to you out here. It's the things that you are paying attention to might have some information for you. The things you are judging, the things you are drawn to. That's another way Spirit communicates. Do you have that experience? I've had this recently where I'm hearing the same turn of words, this phrase, coming from all these different places that are unrelated. And that's a moment where I can go, oh, Spirit, are you trying to tell me something? Is there something I should be paying attention to? And then I use my spiritual tools of going within and discerning. Okay, what is in that for me? Is that this, for some reason that's standing out to me and it's coming from all these different places. What do you want me to know, Spirit? What's in this for me? Because the way that we can really make use of spiritual community is we go into the community with attention and intention. We are intending to find the ways that Spirit is communicating with us, pointing us in love's direction in this community. We decide that that's what's happening. And then we pay deep attention. We go in with intention, trusting that Spirit is in it and for us and there. And then we watch, we listen with open hearts and open minds and curiosity, and we notice. We notice, ooh, I'm having a weird response. Oh, what they said really hit me. I'd never thought of it that way. Thank you, Spirit. And I'm not even talking about the words I'm saying or what you might get from a practitioner in prayer or advice you may be giving one another. I'm saying Spirit is here in all of your interactions. And there's always something in it for you. Because that's what we get to know and intend about Spirit. Which means there's an opportunity when we collectively come together to really gather information, frequency shift, that we take into our lives that allow the transformation that we are deeply longing for and looking for. That's how it works. That is why we gather. That is why every indigenous culture, every faith tradition of ancient times to now starts with community, is centered around community. It is circles, it is ceremonial fires where two or more are gathered. It is in every system, whether organized or institutionalized or not. Your spiritual life, your access to the spiritual technology, and your own inherent spiritual power happens in community. And then you hone your discernment skills. You hone that going within skill so that you can make use of the technology in a way that helps you not only have transformation in your own life, but to be the transmutation and transformation in your relationships, in your family, in your workplace, in your communities. Because if you want to see change in the world, change what you can reach. If you want to see change in your life, get connected in community. May we have the courage to reach when it feels easier to retreat, to reveal when it feels safer to hide, to co-create a sacred space when our wholeness is not just welcome, but needed. May we remember that the divine is not only found in quiet solitude, but in the holy clamor of being known and loved. And so it is.